Hi, it's JD. This is Deep Questions Dark Chocolate with an episode on my favorite mistake. And that comes from the Sheryl Crow song, My Favorite Mistake, where she's talking about all the men she's dated, a lot of mistakes, and how she had one man who was her favorite mistake. And just a funny song. But this is looking at how we as human beings make mistakes and what's the most healthy, positive way to view those mistakes. I think there's two different approaches and perhaps a middle path in between those approaches. And I'd love to get your take on that in the comments below when this is done. So I'm here on the Principia College campus, and many buildings here were designed by Bernard Maveck, a famous California architect, just a brilliant architect. These buildings are beautiful. And so it's designated a National Historic Landmark in 1993. You can see that rock right there with a plaque on it stating that. And so with this mistake house, what they did is small building, maybe 15 by 15, but they just experimented with wood, concrete, steel, brick, and then one side of the roof is covered in tile and one is in concrete. So again, they were just trying to see what worked aesthetically and structurally, and they learned from their experiments, from their mistakes. So it's called the Mistakes House. And the students kind of picked up on this, they liked this, and so they started a literary publication maybe 10, 15 years ago called Mistake House. And it's poetry and fiction and things like that, where they're just examining, human mistakes. And that's the beauty of the college years, the formative years, where you're allowed to take different classes, change your major, change your residence hall, change your behaviors, and it's a beautiful thing. And so I've been watching it for 20 years, and it's fun to see. And so, again, two different ways of viewing mistakes. The one is where I hate making mistakes. I hate setting myself back. I made big mistakes with relationships, with career, with health. For many years I was eating not so great, and it cost me some problems, and I learned, and I really changed my diet, exercise, etc. And so the trick becomes, can you stay one step ahead of that which is trying to trick you? I love in Romans 7, St. Paul talks about how for the good that I would, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. In other words, I know it's good, I know it's right, I just don't do it. And so the Native Americans had a term for this, the trickster, that there's something behind the scenes, unseen, that tricks us into doing that which is harmful to us. I guess the classic example of this is smoking. About 20% of people on earth smoke, even though for decades we've known that it's not a healthy thing. It causes a lot of pain, a lot of diseases, and shortens life. And so the trick becomes, can you stay one step ahead of it and get smarter than that which is trying to trick you? And so this college is based on the teachings of Mary Baker Eddy, and in one of her writings she just says, what mortal today is wise enough to do himself no harm. I love that, being wise enough to do yourself no harm, and to just stay one step ahead of it and to really learn from it in such a deep way that mistakes become less and less in your life. And anybody who's gone to the gym, has worked out, kind of knows that as you put in some serious work in there, you get stronger. And can you do that inwardly? Get inwardly strong and really defend thought from that which is trying to trick you. So that's one approach. And the second approach is kind of a trend in American spirituality, which I like a lot, of just being more gentle with yourself on mistakes. And so to me, my favorite line that kind of sums this up is from an artist named India Ari. And she has this line in a song, life is a journey, not a destination. There are no mistakes, just chances we've taken. Lay down your regrets because all we have is now. And so I love the part where she says, there are no mistakes, just chances we've taken. And so when I look back on the mistakes I've made in life, I can see that they were based on the best information I had at the time. I made the best decision I could at that moment, and I need to forgive myself for not knowing what I didn't know at that time. And that's a wonderful approach, I think, forgiving yourself for not knowing what you didn't know at the time. And so that's one other cool approach. And so I guess my question is there a middle path between that? The Buddhists like the middle way, the middle path. And so can those two approaches be combined, where you really dig in and you work hard to not make mistakes in life, but then you get super forgiving of yourself and really gentle with yourself when you do? And one other approach to this, which I like, is the willingness to make mistakes. My hat says stay innovative on it. And so one example of this, I'm going to mention the guy's name, and it's probably going to be a trigger for some people who hate this guy, but Elon Musk, he's a selfish trolling child on Twitter, and that comes from having Asperger's syndrome. He's on the autism spectrum, and that means you kind of lose the human filter, and you just kind of say whatever's on your brain, you just say it. Whatever's on your mind, you just say it. And he does that clearly, and he's made big mistakes with that. I don't know if he's learning from that or not. It may be kind of how he's wired. But when it comes to the 5 companies he's a CEO of, if we escape the worst effects of climate change, it'd probably be because of Elon Musk. But anyway, in 2017, 2018, they were creating the Model 3, and they were very unprofitable at that time. They were losing money every quarter. And so Model 3 was the make or break moment for that company in 2017, 2018. And so he was sleeping in the factory, working 18 hours a day, working hard to get that car out and to get the company profitable. And so what he was telling his employees as early as 2007 when he started the company was, failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. He loves that word, innovation. He talks about the speed of innovation at Tesla. In other words, when a guy on the line is making a car and he wants to experiment and change, he doesn't have to ask his boss. He just experiments and innovates. And that's an awesome thing. And so in one recent interview, he told the interviewer, I know more about car manufacturing than anybody else on the planet. And the guy's like, that's kind of big, arrogant, bold statement. And he said, yeah, it is. But he said, I can say that because when we were making the Model 3, we made every single mistake you can possibly make in car manufacturing until we figured out how it worked. And these cars are amazing. They're well ahead of every other car. They're greenest, safest, fastest cars on the planet. And so pretty cool how he does that. So bottom line, 2 approaches, really being strong and learning from that, and also being really forgiving with yourself and really gentle and continuing to innovate. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Please like the video if you did. That's what helps the YouTube algorithm get this out to more people. And I'll have another one soon. I'm going to do one on the chapel, and I've just read an incredible article on AI today, so I've got one coming up on that. But thanks for watching. Have a great day.